This is based on the face covering guidance document that was revised on October 19th. Face coverings are important to help slow the spread of COVID-19 when they're combined with other preventive actions and with social distancing. Face coverings are not surgical masks, respirators, or other medical personal protective equipment. The CDC recommends that we wear face coverings and that medical-grade masks should be reserved for healthcare workers. Face coverings should be secured safely over your nose, mouth, and under your chin, and are meant to protect others in case the wearer is unknowingly infected but doesn't have any symptoms. The bottom line is that for everyone's health and safety, we need to follow federal, state, or local requirements, even if they're more restrictive than Wake County Public School system guidelines. As of July 14th, North Carolina requires a face covering of your choice for all employees, K-12 students, and visitors or vendors at all times, including when we're inside the buildings or anywhere on our school grounds, even if we're outside, unless you're by yourself in an enclosed room with the door shut. While we're traveling on buses, vendor transportation, or other Wake County vehicles, at all Wake County work sites, and even if we're 6 feet or more apart from other individuals. Individuals who can't tolerate a face covering due to developmental, medical, or behavioral health needs may request an accommodation. They need to submit the appropriate form. Requests are considered on a case-by-case basis, and all individuals are required to wear face coverings on Wake County property while those requests are under review. Employees have an accommodation request form that is online, and students' accommodation request forms can be found on the intranet. Students and employees may briefly remove their face coverings if they remain socially distanced from others when they're actively eating or drinking, if they're strenuously exercising, if they're communicating with a hearing-impaired person, if they're in a personal vehicle, or if they're operating equipment. The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services provides all K-12 students and employees with 5 reusable cloth face coverings. It's the responsibility of the student or employee to wash those reusable face coverings when needed and to bring them back to reuse them. If you don't have a face covering, one will be given to you when you come to a Wake County school or work site, or on a bus or vendor transportation for students or staff. Breaks and noncompliance. Employees may remove their face coverings if they're alone in an enclosed room with the door shut. They should still remain more than 6 feet from the door so that if somebody comes into the room, they'll still be socially distanced. And they should post a sign on the door instructing people to knock and wait to be admitted. Employees can give students a break from their face coverings if they can meet all the following conditions. They need to be outside. The students and employees should be at least 8 to 10 feet apart from everyone else. Students should remain stationary in the same space, and students should all face in the same direction. The face covering requirement and the other health and safety protocols are critical tools to protect against the spread of COVID-19. So non-compliance with these requirements and protocols will be taken seriously for both students and employees. Schools and departments are going to educate and support their employees and students and families on the importance of the health safety guidance so that we can support, encourage, and model the behaviors we expect. In instances where individuals inadvertently violate one of the health safety guidance requirements, then staff will remind them of the proper protocol. But if there's serious, intentional, or willful instances of an employee who doesn't comply or who repeatedly non-complies, they will be referred to the Employee Relations Department, and it will be addressed through more serious discipline actions up to and including dismissal. There's more information in the Employee Accountability Plan and Required Safety Protocols webpage on Wake Connect. If a student is in non-compliance and if support or non-disciplinary interventions are not enough to change their behavior, then The school board has a policy in the Student Behavior Code of Student Conduct, and it authorizes disciplinary consequences, which could include in-school or out-of-school suspension. And if there's willful or repeated failures to wear face coverings at school, it could result in an involuntary transfer to a virtual learning environment. More information is in the Student Accountability and Required Health Protocols on the internet. Putting on and taking off face coverings. When you're putting on a face covering, wash your hands and fingers with soap and water for at least 20 seconds or use hand sanitizer. Determine which side of the face covering is the front and follow the instructions for putting on that type of face covering. Your face covering should fit snugly against the sides of your face, be reasonably comfortable, allow you to breathe easily, be secured over your nose, mouth, and under your chin, and be changed if it becomes soiled or wet. When you're wearing a face covering, keep the face covering over your nose, mouth, and under your chin. Don't remove it to interact with someone, and don't pull it off your nose or mouth. It's important not to touch the outside of the face covering with your hands, and never wear someone else's face covering. Face coverings should not be worn by anyone who has trouble breathing or who's unconscious, or if they're incapacitated or otherwise unable to remove a face covering without help, or for anyone who can't tolerate a face covering due to developmental, medical, or behavioral health needs, and shouldn't be worn by children younger than 2 years old. When you take off a face covering, avoid touching the outside. Remove it from the back or the sides, being careful not to touch your eyes, nose, or mouth as you take it off. Put the reusable mask into the washing machine, and then wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds or use hand sanitizer. Cloth face covering should be washed after each use in a washing machine using soap and water, and then dry in a dryer or allow them to air dry. Remember, your cloth face covering may protect them, and their cloth face covering may protect you.